Today's Black Friday deal will be all oversized shirts and tank tops, 30% off, automatically discounted and applied on vintagex.com. Don't forget to check out the link down below, and thank you incredibly much for the golden support. Enjoy the rest of the video. So yes guys, this Black Friday on Wednesday deal is all oversized shirts and tank tops, which by the way, we are wearing in this very video, are 30% off the entire collection, automatically applied. Thank you very much for the incredible support. Once again, the link is down in the description below. But this guys, this is a back workout with me, Glynis, right here, and my brother Kane. And Glynis is the girlfriend of my brother Kane, and you will see once she isn't wearing the oversized shirt anymore that she is prepping for a competition. And she's actually prepping right now for the William Bonac Classic, which as of this video, as I'm recording it, is about 3 weeks until that is going to happen. So let's wish her a lot of luck. And, wish her luck to win the pro card. But luck has not much to do with it, as we all know. It's all about determination, discipline, and perseverance. So this is Kane wearing the oversized Juggernaut shirt. But enough about that. We are doing and starting with the narrow grip pull down, the small grip pull down, the V-bar pull down, whatever you want to call it. It is a pull down that is narrow. And the narrowness of this grip ensures a superior stretch at the very top, in my opinion. But look at how I'm angling my upper body. So I'm not staying upright completely. What I'm doing is arching my back a little bit so I can actually get down and dig deep into those lower lats. So basically, where your lats attach to the bone, you should feel that squeeze right there. If you don't, then you should either choose a different movement or choose a different form. So play around with the angle of your back, and when you go all the way up, you have to feel the stretch below your armpits, basically. That's where you want to feel the complete stretch, but also ranging all the way down the bottom of your lats. If that's possible for you, if you have a great mind-muscle connection, you will, just like me, be able to move your body in accordance to the lift and the feeling. So as I'm stretching out, my body is going more upright, maximizing the stretch, and as I'm contracting, my lower back is arching a little bit, allowing me to squeeze the back even more. So this is a second working set. As always, the first working set is heavier, in between 8 and 12 reps. The second working set is in between 15 and 20 reps, allowing me to do 2 different rep ranges and get stronger in both of them for more muscle growth and multiple opportunities per workout to beat yourself. Because if you're training for a few years, you know that heavier exercises, heavier sets are more difficult to progress than the lighter ones. And sorry about the sound in the background, that is little Dexter literally standing next to me wanting attention, which is very important, but getting these videos out is very important as well. Anyway, this next movement is the medium grip seated row. And with this seated row, what I like to do is don't rock your back, your upper body back and forth, basically. Because if you do, you use quite a lot of momentum, and momentum isn't what we want. We want to make it as challenging as possible for the muscle, maximize the tension, because mechanical tension, that is what will create muscle growth. So especially if you have trouble doing this with heavier weights, a second lighter set, as a backup set like this, should make it a bit easier to have a correct and strict form, truly feeling the squeeze in the muscle and the stretch in the muscle as well. Both need to be felt. And then it's time for another incredible movement, the seal row, using the ATX barbell, allowing you to go around the bench, which allows you for a better contraction, enables you a better contraction. And that is what back thickness is all about. If you don't get that full contraction at the very top, if you don't feel that squeeze, you will never create a thick back. Isn't that what we all want? Creating a wide back, in my opinion, is a bit easier than creating a thick back, because that requires lots of weight, but also the most difficult portion of the lift, the squeeze, needs to be maximized. Another great aspect of the seal row is pretty much no cheating, no momentum. So the weight that you use here is about 2/3 of a regular bent over row, for example. So if you're able to do 100 kilos of bent over row, then do about 65 kilos on this lift, and trust me, it'll feel even more difficult with that light weight comparing to a heavier weight on the bent over row, because here the contraction simply is superior, and the angle during which you're performing this movement is different as well. So here you're more able to hit the back thickness, the upper back thickness, and depending on how you keep your elbows, you can also work on the lower latch a little bit, but this is most efficiently working the back thickness of the upper back. Apologies for that, but now Dexter is gone and we can do this in peace of quiet. Anyway, so by the way, you can see that even females can wear the oversized old school gym shirts, so be aware of that. And you can see that the weight we are all three using is once again not very high, because trust me guys, the upper part of the contraction, that is the most difficult part to get into. So just start with a light weight, see and feel the type of contraction you can get with that light weight, and only then you can increase the weight, and then you know what kind of contraction you should feel with a heavier weight, and then you know whether your form is correct even with heavier weights. Now at this time, this was the first time I was doing the T-bar row. Again, always using a wide grip, so this is the ATX wide grip attachment for the golden barbell, as you can see. Also using these ATX powerlifting plates calibrated, so you actually know they are 20 kilos each, and they are very thin, so you can load up as much as you want, not only on barbells but also on chest press machines or hack squat machines, etc., so you never run out of space on the machines. So as you can see, the grip is wide, and then if you look at the back, you can see that the shoulder blades are more able to move. And the more movement the shoulder blades can do, the better the contraction actually is, the better the squeeze. And you cannot get the same squeeze here. And when you compare it to a narrow grip T-bar row, so just give this a try if possible. And if you can't, I would really recommend even investing in this grip yourself, because if your back is a weak point and you love the T-bar row, this grip will make sure that T-bar row is even more effective for making the back grow. You can see it here as well. If you are defined enough, you can see in the back exactly what's happening. So you can see that at the very top, the shoulder blades are retracting, and only by doing that you can fully squeeze and contract those upper back thickness muscles. And that is exactly what a lot of people have lacking in their physique, and that's very important to actually develop, especially when you are serious about creating a fully balanced physique. You don't want to have that that table back, that flat back that is very wide but doesn't have the thickness. I used to have that for many years, until I actually lowered the weight a little bit and improved the contraction, because it's all about that contraction. And yeah, Kane is wearing the oversized Juggernaut shirt, and the difference between this shirt and the other shirt, because me and Glynis, for example, were wearing the blue oversized old school tee, and that is a bit shorter at the bottom because it's truly old school, the same model as back in the 80s and 90s. But we also have super big oversized shirts like the Juggernaut shirt, which is actually very not only wide but also tall to the bottom. So if you guys like that, there's that option as well. And be advised, 30% off only today. And this is the final true back movement. It's an isolation movement, so it's a cable pullover. You can use a rope for this or a cable, and I generally prefer to use the bar or the rope, and the bar feels amazing because the stretch you get at the very top, you can see it in my back and the serratus muscle. That is exactly what you are targeting, basically the musculature right under the armpits, which can be shown off in a pose like this. The front lat spread and even the front double bicep if you want those serratus muscles popping out. Exercises like dumbbell pullovers or cable pullovers with either a bar or a rope really does help. And once again, the back width you can achieve by pull downs using full range of motion, so fully stretching at the very top, and the back thickness you can get by rowing and making sure that you create that squeeze, the shortening of the back musculature under heavy loads. It's the only way to really create the back thickness. And to create the rear delts, you need to do some face pulls. For example, you can do either face pulls or a reverse pec deck or reverse dumbbell flies, for example. But the face pulls is a very nice exercise that is in between an isolation and a compound, in my opinion. Yes, the biceps work a little bit, but the back is already fatigued so much that you can really feel it's being finished off by this movement, especially the rear delts, which is why I'm using higher rep scheme here, at least 15 reps. In between 15 and 20 reps would be ideal for this movement. So what you want to feel here is the rear delt contracting, not as much the traps, but once your rear delt is actually starting to fail, you can use the traps to help you complete the lift. And if you do that, you will actually be working on the traps a little bit as well. And who doesn't like to have bigger traps? The only movement where the traps would also work with you is a side dumbbell, a lateral raise, for example. But then you should skip those traps being helpful to your side delts, because if you do that, then the side delts are actually not under maximum tension, and the side delts don't have much to do with the traps, but the rear delts do have a lot to do with the traps. So just to repeat, first hit failure, hit peak failure on the rear delts using high volume. Once you hit failure, you can do a couple more reps by using the traps as well, and then you hit failure on both of those muscle groups. Just one very important thing: if you have weak rear delts, I would actually recommend doing 2 exercises, starting with an isolation movement like the reverse dumbbell fly, for example, before doing the face pull, so you pre-exhaust the rear delts, so your traps don't have to do as much effort in the second exercise, because the rear delts already have taken such a beating that it's not necessary. Anyway, moving from the rear delts to the biceps. So I'm not going to show you every single set because, a bicep curl is pretty much a bicep curl. But what we're doing here is cable curls using a straight bar. What you want to do is grab the bar shoulder width. That way you work both bicep heads equally. You have most strength, least chance of injury or annoying or irritating the tendons, especially the distal bicep tendon, which connects the forearm to the biceps. I used to have a lot of irritation there beforehand because I used too much weight. I used way too much strange variations, putting a lot of pressure and stress on the tendon and not as much on the bicep. So just stick to mostly the basics, and if you do want to do a close grip, I would recommend to do it on a preacher curl, for example, because then you can actually work a little bit on the outer head, emphasize the outer head, because both heads will always be worked simultaneously. But if you want to emphasize the bicep peak, then doing some close grip movements like the close grip preacher curl is definitely something I still like to do. But if you just want bigger biceps in general, don't do those different angles or different techniques or different width grips. Just make sure to train those biceps to the max, like Glynis is doing right here, going all the way down, feeling the stretch, because if you don't feel the stretch, you will not, I repeat, you will not get that full stimulus being sent to the biceps to grow. You want to feel that stretch, but then don't overstretch the biceps either, because then the tendon is being messed up. So you have to have a mind-muscle connection, feel the stretch in the bicep, go all the way up until you feel a peak contraction, and then you know that you're working the bicep properly, making it grow, getting a good pump in the biceps. In terms of the rep range, you know, the first working set and the second working set I like to keep in between 12 and 15 and in between 15 and 20 reps. So nothing like 6 heavy reps or 8 heavy reps. To me, that doesn't work the biceps more efficiently at all, and it also increases the risk of injury. You don't want to do few heavy reps with small muscle groups, and we have to face it, the biceps simply are small. We all want to create big biceps, but in comparison to the rest of our body, they're small muscle groups. They're small muscles, so you can't use a heavy weight with them as you would with other muscles. So stick to a lighter weight, really feel the mind-muscle connection in there, make sure you get a good pump in the biceps. That's also one thing I believe in. If you don't get a pump in smaller muscles that you hit with isolation movements, you won't make that muscle grow as big as it can be, guys. That is very simply the truth. So the third movement for the biceps, the concentration curl. And by the way, this dog is Simba, the dog of Kane and Glynis, also a dachshund, and in Dutch you call it a tackle, which is kind of like a sausage dog. But anyway, we're doing the concentration curl here. What you want to feel here especially is the full contraction. So I don't recommend starting your bicep work with a concentration curl, because what you want to do first is you want to exhaust the stretched part of the bicep first, where most growth occurs. And then at the last movement you will try to exhaust the shortened moment of the bicep, which is the full contraction here. That is what you maximize as well, and then you will get fully developed and pumped up biceps. Anyway, guys, thank you a whole lot for watching. Thanks for the incredible Black Friday support. Don't forget, 30% off all oversized clothing on the website. Link down below. And don't forget to stay golden.